All of April is Autism Acceptance Month, and yesterday was National Autism Awareness Day.
So what is autism spectrum disorder, or ASD? Psychologist Dr. Laura Saunders is checking in with us this morning to go over what autistics deal with and how prevalent it is. Good morning, Doc. How are you?
Hello, friends. Happy Thursday. And yes, we are highlighting autism awareness. We're going to talk a little bit about diagnosis and symptoms. And then next week, we're going to talk about how it looks like in adults.
All right, this is such a good refresher. I mean, I think, at this, 20 years ago, you didn't hear the word autism as much as you do now. I think a lot of people hear it more. They know what it is. It's touching more families. But for those who just need a little bit of a refresher, can you go over what it is, autism spectrum disorder?
Yes. So it's a neurodevelopmental disorder. It affects an individual's ability to communicate, interact with others, and then understand the world around them. There are key and core symptoms or characteristics of autism disorder. So it's social and communication difficulties, it's repetitive behaviors and interests, and often they have sensory issues or sensory sensitivities, either undersensitive or oversensitive.
I think the most surprising thing that I read about what you sent us is symptoms appear in childhood, but may not be fully apparent until later in life.
So individuals who have milder forms of autism may just be able to sort of float under the radar and not have too many difficulties. It is important to note that autism might be diagnosed in adults. However, you always need to trace the symptoms back to childhood as well. It's not something that emerges in adulthood.
Right.
It always has to be traced back.
And can you go over the sensory sensitivities, because that's a huge component here?
That's a huge component. So it could be you're overly sensitive or undersensitive. It could be to light. It could be to sound. It could be to touch. Very often individuals on the autism spectrum have a lot of issues with clothing. They can't wear, they can't wear constricted clothing. They can't wear certain textures or fabrics because of how it irritates their skin. So they have a lot of sensitivities that really do impact their day-to-day experience, especially around sound and around light.
Now, you say early intervention is the best intervention. What do you exactly do if you think your child has autism?
So based on what your individual child's issues are, or sensitivities or deficits in the core areas of, social and communication and behavior, based on those core deficits and what's been assessed, you want intervention to address those. So we all need to have some social skills. So addressing social interaction is important, reducing the intensity of some of the repetitive behaviors, and working on communication, right? We want more significant or severe autism spectrum individuals to develop communication by age 5, because if you don't develop communication by age 5, it's very likely you're not going to get communication.
Very interesting.
What if you don't know if your child has autism or not, and it's not even on your radar? Are there any signs that some parents can be on the lookout for?
Yes. So early on, what you'd see, there are individuals where you can diagnose autism spectrum behavior in young children, like 2, 3, 4, 5. What you're looking for is difficulties or deficits, right? Do they have a lot of difficulty communicating what they need? The repetitive behaviors like the hand flapping and other things, those are much more obvious. But it's some of the deficits in socialization and communication that can be more subtle. And again, often when you take your child and you compare it to other same age children, you say, I don't think my child's managing their expectations as well, or they're having difficulty in school, or they're having a lot of tantrums because they're not able to communicate what they need. So usually you see how those deficits really impact their day-to-day functioning.
All right, so we're out of time for now, but can we continue this conversation next week?
I look forward to it.
Okay, terrific. Thank you so much for joining us, Dr. Laura Saunders.
Thanks,
It's always
Doc.
a pleasure.
Learned a lot, right?
I learned a lot, is right.
Every
My
week
goodness.
with her.
Yeah, it's terrific. All right.